Welcome back to Navigating Neva. I am your host, Neva Nicole, and today I have with me a special guest. We're talking about lifeguard culture, training standards, and what makes an aquatic facility safer, not just on paper, but in real life. I'm here with my co-host, Wesley King.
Hello.
And our guest today is Tyler.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's jump right in, Wes. Well, let's hear from Tyler. Let's have him give us his background, right?
There you go.
Yeah, so I work in Northeast Orlando right now for local government. So I'm a coordinator, so just managing all of our hiring, onboarding, training, that sort of stuff. So to start at the beginning, just now that we know where I'm at now, I just started with my local rec department in Leesburg, Florida, just scorekeeping, refereeing, anything I could do to work. And then that turned into lifeguarding once we hit to the summer. And then years later, becoming lifeguard instructor and then full time and then a manager. And graduated from Lake Sumter State College, went to UCF, or you can't finish. So graduated from there December of 2019, and then we all know what happened in January, February, March of 2020. So I had already pre-planned to quit my job, move down to Orlando, go on a trip with my brother to California and back. So just things like that. So great time to plan to quit your job and go do something for yourself right when COVID is about to happen.
Absolutely.
So then during COVID, worked at Volcano Bay, worked for the city of Oviedo, which is actually the town that the University of Central Florida is in, even though they'll say Orlando, but it's Oviedo. So then I got a job opportunity to move to Colorado to work for Apex Park and Rec District, and that's Arvada, so Northwest Denver. So I moved out there to be a generalist, got moved up to swim lesson coordinator 5 months into that, or being out there. You guys said that this was my soapbox, so
Yeah.
we started swim lessons with about 80 when I took over the program, and then when I left, we were at about 400 unique group lesson participants per month.
I just want to pause and tell you that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, resume headers, that's the statistics and the numbers they're looking for, because that's 400% growth. Yeah.
And in a short amount of time. And real quick, for those listening, I want to take one step back, and I want to not forget Orlando. Mama taught me if you hear something twice, pay attention. And you mentioned Orlando. Tyler, tell me you have walked the 19-mile strip that they pretend is a quarter mile in Rosen Plaza and all that. We'll get to Colorado in a minute. But I see your head nodding. Anybody, because I've been at that conference center. What is that like? Tell us a little bit more about that, if you wouldn't mind, because we'll get to Colorado in a second.
I mean, the tough thing as a local is you either work International Drive or the tributaries around it, or you try to stay away from it most of the time, honestly, because it's just always so busy.
Sure.
There is always somebody, and I mean, yes, I've definitely walked around and worked there, participated there as a guest. So the convention center is massive.
And everything's named Rosen, right? And I think there's a reason for it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Mr. Rosen was a philanthropist in the area. So he donated a lot of land and facility to use. So UCF's hospitality school, which there's only 2 of those in the country. The other one's in Ohio, based around Cedar Point, I believe, as their feeder. So then Universal and Disney both use UCF's Rosen School of Hospitality to have a lot of feeder students. They also have an aquatics center that they do They have a massive complex with Olympic pool, diving well. That's like, I mean, I feel like that pool is 45 feet deep. They have a like teaching pool. They have an indoor pool. They have a whole fitness center. Like
Yeah.
it's all left like because of his legacy. And he does the trust or the family does still own like, several hotels and like that sort of thing in the area too. So, um,
That's so
yeah.
amazing. And again, thank you. I didn't mean to. I definitely want to get to what you did in Colorado because it's awesome. But also, a friend of the program, as Pat McAfee would say, Nicole Sergio
Program.
Gutierrez, our guy Sergio, worked with the Rosen as well. We've stayed there many times for the Athletic Business Conference. And then our guy Mark Finas with the Lifeguard Eye has played ball with Rosen. So again, just friends of the program, if you will. But awesome, Tyler. Thank you for taking that step back. And then, yeah, to your point now, you went to Colorado, and Colorado is known, KNOWN, for competitive swim. They're known for maximizing small towns. And you stepped into that. And yes, tell us about that growth.
Yeah. So, there have been several swimmers. I want to say Katie Ledecky, but I really struggle with names at times. But there was, and if it's not her, it's the whoever the swimmer that has like all of the 1650 like records. I feel like it's her that like came
Oh,
from
the
Colorado.
1500 plus, the
Yeah,
1500. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's her. Yep,
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like she's from Colorado and like really did swim at a lot of the pools in the area. Before once you get to a certain level, then you kind of swim where you swim. But yeah, so Apex has a or had a Olympic sized pool. It had been there
Beautiful
for like,
property. Yeah.
40 years. And they underwent a project to build a new facility that has a, 3 meter diving well, 1 meter diving well, Olympic sized pool, a teaching pool, and also like a fitness component too, just so it's like 4 feet and you put platforms in for swim lessons or take the platforms out and allow, aerobics classes to occur when swim lessons aren't going on because those are kind of opposite time slots, right? So,
See,
um,
Tyler, the expert. This is why he's on here. He knows. No, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. So, along with that brand new facility, so I worked kind of at Myers, is what it was called, for the last like year and a half of the life of the building. So just trying to preserve the legacy of what that facility was for the community. You go to these facilities around, and they've been there for years or decades, or maybe there was a previous pool and now this one's been here for 10, 15 years. They're
Mm-hmm.
just community centers that really do serve that like community aspect, like everyone knows each other, it's first
It's
name
like the
basis.
cheers.
It's
It's like the cheers of the
yes, you
keep
go where
going.
everybody knows your name. Exactly.
Yeah.
But government without the alcohol at a bar.
Well played.
Um, so yeah, so Apex also has a few other facilities. So they have like an indoor water park, an indoor therapy pool, 3 outdoor pools. Um, so
Entity.
yeah, and then they partnered with the city to have a splash pad, and then they had their own splash pad attached to the water park. So a lot of bodies of water to basically grow and figure out how to program all of that space because there was, coming after COVID, I feel like a lot of the professionals that stuck around or were placed into new roles, right? You don't see it how it was always operated because everything went to we're barely operating to okay, green light, everything's got to
Oh,
open. So
now and we got to do it now. By the way.
and we got to do it yesterday. So exactly, right? So being able to figure out the best use 7 days a week for the facility when it's going to get its most use and not not that money is the driving force, but if it's not revenue generating, like can we redo that time slot to make it work for something else long term, or try out
Lose
new
money at
programming that,
least.
yeah. So, we were able to grow the adaptive program, got my instructors certified through Red Cross because the state of Colorado doesn't require a national certifying agency for your swim lessons, like the state of Florida does. So I wanted to kind of separate our swim lessons from the local market because we had a lot of basically,
Franchise. Oh, sorry,
yes.
early morning. It's cold in
Oh
Chicago. It's
yeah.
really cold. Franchise cold. It's a Frozen thing. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
I want to pause you for a minute. So a lot of people will ask why well, like you mentioned, there's no state requirement, so they don't see the need to certify their
Mhm.
staff. You said you did certify
Hmm.
your staff because why?
I wanted to set us apart or above the non-certified programs because
There you go. This
if
is
you're a
how we move
parent
up the
that's
podcast ring, Tyler. Keep going. These type of taglines, buddy. Look out, Smartless.
if you're able to show that your employees are more qualified and you have parents that are engaged, they're going to do their research and see they have good reviews. Oh, my friend also told me they have their child in swim lessons because again, we were doing 400 kids a month that were unique participants. Granted, the private lessons about 100 a month, but like we would do, 4 or 5 a month per kid, depending, right? So some kids got 10 a month, some kids got 2 a month. So, anyways, so there was a lot of people growing that word of mouth, and then also just on our website, the first thing that you see is swim lessons
Bingo.
and here's the why of our program. Here's why we're doing what we're doing. So we were able to say our um, swim instructors were certified as Red Cross instructors, and then our adaptive instructors got certified level 1 through Swim Angelfish. And shout out their
Oh,
program; they
we
are
love
very
swimming.
great people. Anytime I've interacted with them, so I would encourage that program to look into if you've never seen it. But we were able to basically, people with special needs, or at least, parents that have children with special needs, there's a lot more awareness around it. So they, I, I feel like research a little bit more than the average parent. So they want to make sure that if they're signing their child up, that there is a level of safety and there is a level of additional training that they have. Because if you just go to any old swim instructor and they don't know how to deal with a child that's mildly autistic to severely autistic, that's going to create roadblocks. So that is a lot of how Swim Angelfish approaches their learning content. It's not the same matter of here's level 1, here's what you teach. It's you're going to be presented by this behavior, and here's how you can redirect and move it into a positive matter.
Look
So
at
we would
Nicole's head
use
jumping up and down.
exactly. So thank you. So we were able to set the Red Cross program as you're going to learn this, but then how we learn it is kind of like brought on top by that program. So, use the therapy pool, use the indoor lap pool, gave them their own area. So, the sensory was a little bit less as well because they're separated off to the side. So it's not, oh, I'm in with the other 30 kids that are all screaming and crying. Like they're 300 feet away from that. So just trying to create a barrier and have that need met. So yeah, so that was a lot of my time at Apex. Introduced events and um, started doing that. I mean,
That's
yeah,
awesome. I
that was
hope
a lot of
people
Colorado. So
I hope people that are listening to this have swerved off the side of the road and raised both of the arms in the air and going, yes, separating the programs, delineating the skill sets, putting the front page of the news. If it's important to you, it's on the front of your website. So many people have
yeah,
to dig to, anyway,
If
beautiful
it's for
stuff.
me, I'm never driving. I'm doing maintenance at the pool and I'm trying to like listen to my
yes,
podcast and then I'm like,
yes,
what? And I have to pull it out of my pocket, pause it, write it down,
rewind.
and I'm like, I can't
Yep.
listen to this and do stuff. Let me put my playlist on. I need music because you listen to something like
There's,
Tyler and you get all these ideas and all the
yeah,
gears start turning and then
too many
it's
gold
really
nuggets, my
just
man.
as yeah, just as bad if you're driving.
And every state's different, right? Like how you have to approach it in Florida is how you approach it different in Colorado. So knowing what's in your local market, because if you don't have to compete with franchises, so it doesn't, then you're not going to have that as like your competition. So then, not that it's competition, but it's
Yeah,
space in the market, right? So
yeah.
being able
Absolutely.
to be set above, or or at least the area, like if you see a program on the other side of town that's like they're killing it, well then just if you can get to their level and be in the same conversation, well great, well then now you've raised your street cred, as it were. So um
And that's what we're all about here at
Yeah,
Navigating Neva and all things
street
aquatics
cred.
is
we want
raising
to raise our
your
street credit.
aquatic
That's
street
absolutely
cred.
right.
See,
So,
and again, Tyler,
Glad you're
look
with
out,
me.
Amy Poehler, look out, Hotocopy. We're climbing it, baby, because of our
so
street cred.
what you're not saying, but what I want to ask is, you are mentioning all of these amazing things that you've done. That means that you've got great leadership. And just from your own personal standpoint, what do you think helped you mold or form your approach to leadership? Was it what do you attribute to that?
Yeah. So I my father forced me to be a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, and then the deal was my brother and I both had to get our Eagle Scouts before we were allowed to drive. So
Are you
that
similar age? Sorry, are you similar age or
he's
how?
4 years older than I am.
Got it.
So
Okay,
I'm
Okay.
fair
30,
enough.
he's 34. So
Fair enough. Thank you.
um yeah, so we got our driver's license about 2 years away from each other. So um I just anyways, so that
Eagle Scout.
program
Sorry. Yeah.
really tries to instill a sense of like leadership and community and like that sort of aspect. So that is probably where that aspect has grown to then, okay, now I'm working for my local government. Okay, now I'm moving on to, the next thing. So as I got into college and started exploring like what degree programs there were out there, because I felt like most jobs in our industry are going to be degree required. Whether we all agree with that or not is a whole other conversation because our job is so experience
Hmm.
based as opposed to
Hmm.
classroom based. Yes, there is assessment for
Or
classroom, but
certification based or all. Yeah.
yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
So could you do our job without going to college? Yeah, but the people that do have degrees at times, like there's salary benefits because it's a lot of government stuff. So they look at it very black and white. So I
Hmm.
felt long
Hmm.
term I needed to go and get that. So UCF is the closest university to me. So they had a sport and exercise science like degree, and they had three tracks. So community development literally had a like pool maintenance 101, and then leadership in aquatics, and like there were things that they did to like make that the career transition, which I feel like is rare because saw on one of the Facebook pages like what degree should we get if we're in this
Right.
industry, and it's like what like I have not
LGI,
heard of one.
WSI. How many more letters can I put
Right.
behind? Sorry. Yeah.
No, for sure. And I mean, you see people that like put all of those on like their header, and it's like you have 15 letters after your name, and like that's not
Right.
even that difficult.
Right. Right.
Anyway, so went to UCF. They the other two programs were coaching and human performance. So human performance is lifting. That's not really my like avenue. So um they canceled the community development like program the semester I graduated from my state school to go there, so I could no longer enroll. Maybe I should have finished state school sooner, but is what it is. So I pivoted from there to get into coaching, and because I felt like leadership and how you lead a team and people see you as their boss, and we all think of that like meme of boss versus leader, and the boss is the guy sitting on the back of the
And
weight and everybody's carrying it, and then
yeah.
the leader is the person at the front having everybody help them carry the thing together.
So
And
you've
like,
seen My Office. Got it. Okay.
yes, I mean, no, but yeah.
Right.
So I felt like I wanted to kind of pursue the industry from that method, right? Because we are leading teams and we're coaching and we're developing these. They're not athletes, and that was a lot of what my schooling was focused on, was coaching the athletes and getting the most out of them. And shout out Dr. Duke. He kind of pioneered this program for 3-dimensional coaching, and he's taken it to do high school, college, professional like seminars for coaching to basically get the most out of their athletes. And I was able to kind of take what he used anecdotally to say, like, here's how you treat your athletes. Like, well, here's how you treat your professionals. And if you're
Hmm.
able to engage them from I care about you and I care about
Yeah.
the well-being of this facility, and we all have love for what we're doing, you're able to get more buy-in or more effort. Because I feel like our industry is dictated by effort and energy, because if you're going to put in the effort, well, then you're going to learn. If you're going to put in the energy, well, then you're not going to be lazy and you're not going to let things fall by the wayside. So to me, those are two of the like larger, I mean, adjectives or, describing
Yeah.
words of like what I want as a, to teach and learn from. So went through that program and, really just kind of used those things that I learned there to then like, how do I pivot this, to still work for my team? Because football teams have 60 people to 100 people on them. And, our lifeguarding staff can be that size too, right? But then
Easily.
so you coach a team, a non-competitive swim team, there's 20 kids on it. Okay, well, then how am I going to approach this, and how do I lead the swim coach that's never coached a team before, that now it's their responsibility? And like, how do you support that employee or athlete, So just trying to use those as interchangeable examples. So that was kind of where my leadership came from, I guess, and how I've kind of tried to put it into action, I guess.
I
Brothers
love
don't
that.
shake hands. Brothers hug, my man. Tommy Boy reference all day. And you don't know this, but I do some public speaking, and I start what you just said with the T. I add time and energy and effort. So when you were talking, it took every ounce of me not to interrupt you. I'm so proud of myself. But also that phrase, the TEE, and I say it so often, time, energy, and effort is really the bachelor or master's degree in this industry. Oh, beautifully said. And great core.
I have a question. I know I had the last question, but listening to everything you just said and talking about, the coaching and looking at our guards almost as a team, because that's what they are. They're almost like a football team. I mean, they're not a basketball
Mm-hmm.
team for sure. If you
They're
had
too
30
short.
seconds, if you had 30 seconds to talk to, city or municipality directors that oversee aquatics but aren't in aquatics, what would you want them to understand, or what would you try to get them to understand?
The elevator pitch.
Oh my gosh, 30 seconds.
I'll give him a
Yeah,
minute.
Um,
Give him a minute.
they're
It's a
not going to
tall
listen to you
elevator.
for that long.
It's
You are
a
stuck with
long
them in the
elevator.
elevator in the
Yeah.
concession
a
line.
long
Like you're
elevator.
not. Yeah.
Um, so I think if you're, at that like higher level and you're not involved in the day to day of aquatics, if you've worked in aquatics, the struggle that can come up in our industry at times. But if you haven't worked, I would encourage you to spend a day shadowing your leader, and who's ever responsible for the facility, to see what they do on a day to day and why they make the decisions they make. If you're not keyed into those things, it can be tough to kind of fully grasp everything that's going on at a facility, because there's the facility safety aspect of it. That's hopefully number one, for most facilities. Number two is then like programming and facility space usage, those sort of things. And then, everything that goes on back of house, that's the pump room, the pool chemicals, all of those things. Not that it's third in importance, but, there's multiple facets that, if you're running a baseball program, well, the field's normally taken care of by the field maintenance crew, and then you're just showing up to conduct the program with either certified or uncertified referees or umpires, or whatever sport it is. But our lifeguards do have to have documented in service. So just if you're not aware, learn, be open to what they say, and just try to take their opinion. And if you don't believe them, join a Facebook group, ask what your question is there, and then get the hive mind of things. Because if you don't, if you don't trust one person's opinion, it can really help sometimes to get 15 people's opinions. And that's for myself too. You hear something that's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't, I don't agree with
It
that.
smells fishy. Yeah.
And then you like look into it more, and it's like, what, there is like merit to what they're saying. So, if you're able to kind of pivot into that, that would be my recommendation.
For those of you listening, Tyler just gave us a master class on how to translate the aquatic mind and framework into that of an executive or C-suite level that doesn't have it. He broke it down into 3 categories. He made all 3 of those categories relevant to the listener, if the listener has no background, and then he made it very important for that audience member, a CEO, an executive, a decision maker, to say, hey, whether you understand these 3 concepts or not, the first and last point is to spend time on the pool deck and to engage in what you're overseeing. So again, and by the way, that was not me going off the script for our audience members. That was somebody else. I won't mention her name, but I did not go off script with that question, and Tyler still handled it beautifully. But again, their 3 points are spot on, and we often struggle with telling our boss what's happening in aquatics or conveying the importance of one of those 3 points, and then the boss goes, no, I don't get it, or I don't understand. And I think, Tyler, you do a great job of just communicating the value of certain areas of aquatics so that people can understand them and engage with them. So kudos to you. And Nicole went off script.
So our
I didn't
next
say that out loud.
section, Wes, is instructors are key, which I think Tyler absolutely understands this, or he would not have had as many people sign up. So let's look at that. Let's look at our instructors are key.
Yeah. So Tyler, how do you go about working with those instructors, knowing that their certification isn't just it, right? We've talked about each state having their own challenges. We've talked about
Mhm.
your multiple certifications. Again, I don't want to steal your thunder, but if I recall, you at one point could have put several and still can put several letters beyond your name as an instructor. And
Yeah.
even at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'm old and decrepit, so I've held them over years. But if am I right that there was a cycle of time where you had a really long run of letters after your name? And
Yeah.
how do you take that and make that mean something to the new instructor who just is writing their name on a certification?
Yeah, so just to give the context of what Wes is hinting at. So,
There it is.
right when I joined Apex, I was a Red Cross guard for like the previous 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, however long I was in the industry. That was all I knew. Became a lifeguard instructor with them, swim instructor, trainer, WSI, did all of the things, lifeguard manager, all those things through them. So when I moved to Colorado, they were an Ellis facility and transitioning in their last like 6 months of their contract out. So I had to get certified to now work day to day at that facility and guard, as needed. So, I'm coming in and then, still teaching part time, like for another local town in South Denver, on that certification. But then I'm now working as a
Hired
lifeguard
full
under
time.
Ellis and
Yep.
full time. And
Yep.
then, that's July, August. Okay. So then October, I go to an instructor development course with Starguard. And now I'm certified as a lifeguard
Bingo.
instructor with Starguard. And so then trying to like figure out like, okay,
Aha.
I've been through all of this. What's the overarching theme with everybody, and it's facility safety. So regardless of the program, I feel like that you're invested in, it really comes down to the foundation that the lifeguard instructor sets. So if they are a weak instructor, it's going to show in their team when they go on stand for the first time. So if they've been fully developed all the way through as a lifeguard, then their first shift, they should hopefully
Mm.
be able to now replicate every skill that they just got certified in. So, there are statistics out there that you forget. So, however much percentage of what you learn after a certain time. And that's why we have in service and extra trainings and
Mm-hmm.
all that. But, you know, does a lifeguard know how to blow their whistle on stand? Or
Oh.
have they not even gone over that in their certification course? So there are other skills that go on just from the base level lifeguard that have to be gone over before they should really be on their own, right? So from a lifeguard instructor standpoint, they need to then like teach that person how to have this job, in my opinion, right? Like some people, it is just a certification and then that's just what they do. They certify and go work wherever. But, a lot of after COVID facilities have switched
Oh.
to I'm hiring you, I'm certifying you, and now you're our employee with our certification.
In our building where you only know how to work. Sorry to interrupt because you've only been trained there, and that
Yes.
man. See, yeah, go ahead, keep going, keep going. Yeah, yeah.
And that just helps, right? Because then there's, buy-in because it's not I'm having to pay for my certification as we all did, like probably, when we started our careers of you have to pay to be a lifeguard. And now you're not being paid to attend a 25-hour basically job interview, and then you have to hope then do an interview or not, and then hope that you just get hired at the place, and if that works out or not, right? So um, if the lifeguard
Yeah.
instructors don't tell the lifeguard, hey, you need to bring a water bottle to your shift because that's a
Bingo.
part of your uniform, as someone who forgot water on their first day of
Mm-hmm.
work as a lifeguard 15 years ago, it's like that is super plausible. Yes, there's a water fountain, but it's like that ice cold water is a lot better than hot water
And it's a
fountain
long walk to the water fountain.
So
every single time.
Yeah.
there's actually a place in my area where you're not allowed to have your water bottle on stand because it makes the area look cluttered. And that has been a long time debate for beginner lifeguards in my class. They will talk about, we'll do a community class, and they're like, well, my place did this and my place did this. And I'm just looking around like, these are very interesting. It's different how different people do stuff. But
To
yeah.
compare it to sports, would you allow your baseball practice to not have water?
No, never.
Well, Well,
Would you
yeah.
have your game without water? No,
Never. No.
never.
So you got to
No.
get creative. You got to hook it to a stand. We didn't have a footrest. We knocked it off. To your point of the whistle, I used to have a rule that if you were on the pool deck and we did not interrupt the yoga class upstairs, you weren't blowing your whistle loud enough. Now, the lesson
Mm-hmm.
learned is warn the yoga class first. To your point, of lifeguards never blown their whistle inside because we trained outside in the summer, or the
Mm-hmm.
lifeguards never blown the whistle when it's an actual crowded pool because we didn't replicate that during class, and it was just me and the 9 other instructors. Also, real quick, I know you mentioned Starguard. For those of you listening, shout out for the Starguard family, and for those of you that know, all the prayers and love to the the Starguard employees and the families that are going through things. So, but yeah, you bring up a great point of now that they're certified, and that's kind of why we asked the question is I've certified over 3,000 lifeguards, and one of the reasons I don't do it anymore is I got trained here. I only know this. My instructor certified me and wrote that, and they went and did in this class. And yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
system for that. But that lifeguard then comes in, and I have to train them almost another 40 hours on what happens
Mm-hmm.
in this pool deck, in this locker
Mm-hmm.
room. And you've done that successfully while building programs. You've done that successfully while instituting growth mindset. You've done that successfully while engaging national networks. How?
Research. I mean,
Sorry
I
to
feel
put you on the
like
spot, but it's pretty cool.
I feel like uh, I don't. If I'm going to try something, I don't want to try halfway. So if there's anything that I can do to try fully or like to do this to the best way or like see what the industry leaders are doing and be able to take what they're doing, because I got no shame. Like as I was at Apex, like I just wanted to like look into some form of event or participation thing to do for kids with special needs because we had a swim lesson program for adaptives, but and then just Googling like City of Philadelphia, they host a sensory hour. Okay, let me read everything that they have for a sensory hour. And now let me Google sensory hour because I had never heard of that name before and see who else rec
Love
department
it.
wise hosts this style of event. Right. So, from lifeguard instructing to
Doing
programming, like,
recon.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
research. Like our industry I feel like at times has been more restrictive on knowledge and like access to things. And like we talked about it, right? 15 years ago, everyone basically had to pay for their certification and
Yeah.
even your recertification, even though you worked for that place and it's a
Yeah.
job required certification, you would not be clocked in for it. And you're on site at the facility doing a job that, yeah, illogical.
Uh-huh.
So, those things have changed, right? It's a little bit more accessible now. So I feel like that to me exudes too, because I want to be able to share any of the knowledge that I've learned or kind of give that to the next generation that we're having come up and be lifeguards for the first time where, they don't like their other lifeguarding job. Well, their buddy works here and they like working. So now they come and work for our facility because we try to do things the right way and we care about our employees. And it's not just your lifeguard number 1784 on the schedule. And these are the hours that you work and good luck working at 12, 12, 12 over Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, 12, 12, 12. And you mentioned too, when we spoke offline, I think you've put some education out in the world, right? You spoke at the Georgia conference. We've talked about Kelly
Yeah.
Martinez. Expand a little bit, if you would mind, just about how you've built your network. I know we have our Facebook page and there are things out there, but I think you're one of the people that really maximizes your relationships in your network. And again, I'm old and curmudgeon, so it's built into me. But for those in the next generation that are living the world you're in, talk about that because I think it's been very valuable to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was in Colorado, our director, Hillary Romensberger, she was the like outgoing president for CPRA or the Parks and Rec Association. So
Great group.
right. So her Maggie Sherrill, who was an employee that reported to me, and then myself, we all met about kind of the changes we made as a team because we did have a toxic culture at the time. And, we all met, we had a retreat, we all worked together to kind of change the ecosystem from the full-time team because now that toxicity was going down to the part-time team and we were all responsible for it, right? Like no, everyone had their hand in making it not ideal. The problem is the problem,
right?
Right. So we all agreed we're going to assume positive intent and work through these issues. And then, like we talked about offline, like it doesn't matter if we agree with the decision. The decision's the decision. I need you to support it because you're a team member and the leader has said, here's what it is. Sometimes it's going to be up to vote and majority wins. Other times it's a one-person committee. Other times it's three people, So when the decision is made, everybody's got to buy into that, regardless if they agree or not. So give your opinion, be respectful, be kind, but then be able to understand that, that's the decision. So, anyway, so we presented on that content and how we were able to then build programming for our employees. So, having events for them that, tried to build culture, free food. The managers would guard the pool. They could come in and swim for free after hours, have a perk for them. Maggie built a mentorship program. So it was essentially the trainers, but then she would do in-service training based around resume development or how to coach these lifeguards better because they're that mid-tier between base level lifeguard and senior guard or supervisor on deck, right? So we needed to have, because we had such a large diverse team, a building block in between there so they could learn, professionally develop, and is this the industry they want to work in, or how do they take these skills and now port them elsewhere? So they would also do culture events where they go watch a movie together, or go hang out, or stuff like that too, that was outside of work. So it was just trying to build community and trust and team building,
things a team does. The NFL players do this.
Things
real
the
teams do. Yeah,
exactly.
Sorry. This is real stuff, people. Yeah.
So when you have a lifeguard get certified and now their first shift is with an employee that's bought in, knows what they're supposed to do, and they know when they're supposed to do it, great. Now they're going to be bought in. And now you're creating a lineage of people that have buy-in. So that was, anyways, long presentation, but, I was really passionate about that. So we did that all in Colorado together. And then based on kind of all this growth and, providing, these diverse programs for group swim lessons, parent-child, developing a non-competitive swim team, because Colorado has a very developed non-competitive swim team network across Parks and Rec departments. Yeah, it's called Kara. You go to your local pool to swim, but then you meet, once a month to go swim at somebody else's pool to have a competition that's more about fun than time, right? If I was scared as heck going down to Fort Lauderdale for my first swim meet at what is it is one of the nicest facilities now as an adult, looking back at it, but I was scared. I had never been in a 12-foot pool before, and I had learned, as someone who didn't learn how to swim until they were 10, it was terrifying as now at a 12-year-old to say, I have to dive in head first to a 14-foot pool
with all these people around me and all this happening.
At a very large meet that there are over 1,000 people at, that's intimidating.
I just found my way through the locker room. What are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding your way through the locker room, though, sometimes is insane at these facilities. You're like,
now you walk out and you see.
Pool? Where's the pool?
Sorry, Tyler. I just said PTSD because even as a 33-year-old, I had that feeling. So go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, so just building those things. So all of that content I was then able to submit for the National Rec and Park Association because I was in Atlanta. I got approval while I was at Apex. Yeah, we'll get you to go if you work there. I ended up not living in Colorado anymore. My wife had a job opportunity to move back to Central Florida and do something better for her career. So it was just kind of time of okay, that's how we got back. So Orlando to Georgia, not that bad of a trip. So I worked at Lowe's Hotels, and shout out Lowe's. I was able to use my hotel benefit as an employee to stay at the Lowe's Hotel in Atlanta and make that trip happen to be able to present in Atlanta and, being awarded a scholarship, to go share knowledge with other professionals. I know how lucky of an opportunity that was, so being able to share and I got to share this. So I get done my presentation. A guy from the city of Philadelphia walks up to me and says, just want to shake your hand. Thanks for shouting me out in the presentation. And I was like, buddy, how is this the same? He was in my presentation. Wow. It was just how is this the small world of out of the 10,000 people that are here, you came to my presentation out of the other 50 going on right now, and you wanted to come up and speak with me.
That's what I love about Aquatics.
That's and it was his name that you dropped of all the names you could have, and you have a lot of names you could have dropped, and you his yeah. Wow, and Coach Jim Ellis. No.
So we did that at NRPA. I moved back to Florida and, I just wanted to get back into presenting. So I submitted for Florida last year and they have a very early submittal timeline. So Georgia's timeline is a little bit later. So then I like developed one for Florida. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I've got some things I need to say. Like, let me see if I can go submit at Georgia. So I submitted a topic that I had never done before based around developing a winning mindset in aquatics. And you mentioned growth mindset, and we talked about fixed mindsets and, those sort of things. But um, that was the same time as your presentation, Nicole. So like you were able to come to the first one that was more of like what I did about cost recovery and developing programs that makes sense for the community and the facility. And that kind of mirrored what I did at NRPA. But so I was able to also attend World Water Park this fall as a volunteer to just kind of see and help out. And like, if they're ever in Orlando again, I would gladly go and help out with that. And as a
Wes, we hung out more this fall than you and I did because we were at
I'm so
Orlando and
jealous.
GRPA together. I know.
I'm telling you, Tyler and I, and he doesn't know this either. My dad's a national sports official, so I used to referee and umpire all the time. So as soon as you drop the referee line, so anyway, Tyler and I, now I'm going to steal him from you, and he and I are going to be best buds. So good luck. And
good luck.
yeah, sorry, Tyler. Sorry, Tyler's wife, and I don't care. Anyway, but to your point, Tyler. Even no matter where you live, from referencing Philly and being in Georgia, from moving from Colorado to Florida, I think that's the takeaway for all the audience member, whether it's All Things Aquatics, AOAP, your local state, Kelly Martinez, Sean DeRosa, it doesn't matter. Tyler, Nicole, it doesn't matter.
Kate
Find
Connell.
people, Kate Connell,
yes.
Pete DeQuincy, right? Kelly Martinez, we can go on and on. Find people that are within, a stone's throw from you, digitally or physically. Read their content, and if something inspires you, do what Tyler did. Look up Philadelphia, look up who's doing it great, and connect with them. I love it, man.
So I have two questions for you that I want to make sure I ask while we're on air. One is you brought up an important issue about how important training is, but oftentimes in aquatics or maybe in small towns where aquatics is just seasonal, upper management sees this price tag on aquatics.
70% of America.
And they're not interested in putting that out there. I just want you to tell everybody listening, how do you feel this affects the industry?
So it can affect the industry because then those opportunities aren't there for the staff or for the young community members. So drowning is the leading cause of death for children under 5, right? So, and I know you're doing like work to better track like statistics and all that, but if we're not providing like this benefit to the community, then those statistics are going to get worse because now more children aren't learning how to swim. And, if we aren't providing equitable access across as many communities as possible, it's not going to get better. There has to be this buy-in or like, from above, we need to do something about this. And, I was talking the other day at work, like we have all of our pool drains a certain way because a congressperson's daughter or granddaughter passed, right? Virginia Graham Baker. And we all know that law just by VGB.
The one law, by the way, the one law we all have, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might take something tragic like that, unfortunately, happening, but there needs to be this like wake up call to people in power to like still donate, like not donate, but like allocate funds to this
TEE,
thing.
time, energy, or effort.
Yeah, because if we're not improving water safety, it's just going to get worse. And like, there is some form of responsibility, that a lot of governments kind of have to take on because from the private side, well, they're in it for money. And, if you're going on a vacation, they don't offer those services. So where else do you swim but at your community pool? So if your community pool doesn't offer accessible swim lesson programming or teaching how to learn how to swim, like it's just going to get worse. And I don't want to see that. So I want to try to, help create more accessible opportunities. And that's kind of what what a lot of people come on here and talk about, providing more accessibility and teaching people how to swim and to make that leap. So it is kind of, a lot of governments say that, it's to improve the better life of the well-being or the safety of the community. And like, those are those altruistic, like vision or like mission that they have, that you're there to serve the people. Yes, you collect their trash. Yes, you provide their electricity, but you make this a want place to work or excuse me, live, right? You have green spaces and like things that attract people, it's a lot.
Right. It's all
um,
there. It's in front of us, right? The school,
yes,
the libraries, right?
Yeah,
And if I
and
mean,
pools are expensive.
pools
You
are
yeah,
know, so
expensive. So I want to shout out. I know you guys dropped a lot of names. Mark's Heavy or Not podcast. Sue Nelson was on there, and they were talking about this very thing. This is one of those times, and I've got the podcast on. And I have to stop to take notes. And I have been at city pool, county pool, and I think what people have forgotten or turned away from is just like you said, Tyler. Where are they learning to swim? It's a public health, it's a public safety, and these pools
mhm.
cost money. We know that. And so many people, when I was hired on in 2009, the director wanted our pool to make money. And I think that just kind of spread like cancer. Pools are not designed to make money. Pools are designed to prevent drowning and reduce those statistics. So I feel there's just been such a huge disconnect.
you guys are so funny. You said 2009. I'll shout out 1996. And pool. It was called Carver Pool, Peoria, Illinois. It had a crack in it. Our lifeguard competition name was Crack Kills, and they just had to dump cold water in it every day. It cost 75 cents a day to swim in it. And you know why we kept it open is because it was an impoverished, low-income neighborhood, and those children and youth had nowhere else to go.
Mhm.
You could be 8 to 80. You didn't know how to swim, and that's not racist. That's I was there, and we could have been on either side of the tracks, and you didn't know how to swim because there was nowhere to swim in the winter, right? So you come into the summer not knowing how to swim. I know this because it's some of the Olympics '96 as well. And the first 2 weeks of the lifeguards stayed in the water. Why jump in? Because we knew. So what did we do? We had swim test. So we had to live in real time figure out what we're talking about today. And if that pool wasn't open, those kids weren't going to swim in 97, 98, 99.
Yep.
And anyway, so the point being is this is a much longer term challenge, but also you hit the nail on the head. What you described, Tyler, was extinction. If you took the word water out and replaced dinosaurs, all the exact same words you just used are synonymous. And
Well,
so it's scary that from my generation to you guys to the next one, yeah, we're still using the same
this could
words.
be a totally different podcast and we could stay on this forever. So I'm going to bring it back to
Yes,
Tyler
please.
because he did great with his instructors on deck. So, what roles did agencies or associations do to expand access to education? And you, I don't know if you noticed this, but you said things that you guys did in Colorado to help your instructors. You know, other people that are listening that aren't going to send their people out, how can they help expand their knowledge and education?
Typically the cheapest and easiest are to create a LinkedIn profile and just start logging your personal career. I try to describe it to like the new employees as like it's Facebook, but for jobs. So if you can be as presentable as you can be to somebody, it might never ever come up with a job opportunity, but the day it does, it's like, I'm glad I did this. But there are a lot of free webinars located on LinkedIn, and you know if you're on Facebook too, there are aquatic managers and directors, and then like y'all's pages of all things aquatics. Like there's several webinars that are free to go on through there. And then Association of Aquatic Professionals, I think their membership is like $50 to $75 somewhere around there, and then they do have paid and free webinars that go on through that organization too. Um, so it could be cheaper to go through like virtual learning than like specifically sending out or flying out to a different state, or you know having multiple day hotel stay if your state association is several hours away, or you know those things can kind of be tough. But doing research too, googling, you know, if you're able to like figure out, hey, this is the sort of program I want to have, and then like type it in, like either there's going to be a Reddit post or a Facebook post of something similar that somebody else has executed or been able to
Don't try to
do.
do it
And
yourself.
yeah,
Don't,
and everybody will
yeah,
share, right? So if
that's a
they're
big
involved in
change.
those like networking pages, they're open to sharing, and that's why we're there is to not restrict information, but to enhance it and make it more accessible. So, or at least that's why I'm in there. I don't, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I've learned about this SKOOL school thing too, to your point. But what I hear you saying, and I've heard you say it multiple times, Tyler, is if you know what you want and you understand what you're trying to achieve, a better safety deck, a better team, there's
Sorry
resources
about
out
that.
there. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's my cat
Um,
Hermes.
that's
Sorry.
beautiful.
That's how we get more
Um,
views.
that is, see, a cat play. If you could put a piano underneath it, and maybe they could do it in rhythm, that would be.
I've been talking to him all morning of, buddy, you did really well. Please, I need you to stay
With a
quiet today. because he's
It's like my daughter. She knows she's supposed to be good and she doesn't do it.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. And that's, we're getting wrapped up anyway. And that's kind of what my takeaway from you is. One, I can't wait to connect with you more and work with you more. But also, if you're listening to this and you don't know where to start, just think about what excites you. What do you want to get into? Is it lifeguard
Yep.
training? And then get on the internet and type that in. And
Mm-hmm.
then follow the people that are like you and want to share. And I guess my point is, I think the post-COVID, I think the internet, I think the leaders in this industry, Nicole included, yourself, have made it a point to put themselves out there and say, I'm available. Because we know it's not happening in your building so much. We know it's not happening in your government maybe so much. And I think you've done a great job of kind of showing how you can go about this without stressing yourself out, right? Notice in 50 minutes, Tyler never once said, and oh my God, can I just, right? Because I think he's got a plan. And we often struggle with knowing how to balance our lives, knowing how to own what we're after. And I think Tyler just does a great job of that. And we're, I'm glad you were here. So thank you.
We appreciate you coming on again for a second time.
Yes, absolutely. We all missed our Saturday morning cartoons, but the He-Man trailer's out. But
can I make a comment about the Muppets? I never knew that they had a show like 10 years ago, and it's on Disney Plus. So now that they've removed the Muppet like 3D experience from Disney, I'm like crushed. So then to find that on Disney Plus, and then you tell me that they're coming out with more, that was like, I have something to look forward to.
It premieres February 4th. Another way we climb the ladders is we tag ABC and Disney and Orlando. And
Disney, you need an Aquatics podcast.
Disney Plus hashtag like us and subscribe us and watch the Muppets on February 4th and listen to Navigating Neva and Tyler's Gold Nuggets. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, most important as we wrap up here today, Tyler is going to share with me how you guys can get in touch with him. But for sure, I know that I have his LinkedIn profile, and I will put that on the show notes. So if you guys are interested in just gleaning from him, or maybe seeing where he's going to speak next, or maybe he'll speak for you on one of these great presentations he's already done this year, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn, and I will put his direct link on our show notes. And we thank you, as always, for joining. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and have a great week.